Hispanics. We are an integral part of American culture. The engine to our economy's growth. The driving force that keeps the country going. And we know that we are stronger together. We know that our community will advance when we unite as one. When we get together. When we move from individual efforts to truly collective action. When we have a plan.
Getting a rocket to the moon wouldn't have been possible without a plan. Building a pyramid, winning the Super Bowl, advancing industries, even a domestic function as simple as following a recipe needs a plan. We need a plan. Everybody needs a plan, and the Hispanic community doesn't have one. So today, we're gonna be here to make sure that we create one plan. And we will learn from people that have successfully not only created a plan, but implemented it. Like Martin Shanahan, the CEO of the Industrial Development Authority of Ireland. When I met Martin, he told me that after the recession, they all got together and implemented a plan to take Ireland out of the recession. And through that one single plan, got everybody together, all agencies and all the population, and we're much faster in the recovery than other countries, for example, Greece, that spend their time debating and debating and discussing. So let's hear from Martin so that we can be inspired and create our own Hispanic plan.
Hello, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you to talk to you about some of the lessons that we learned in Ireland during the last economic recession. So in the face of one of the biggest economic slumps that our country, indeed any country, has saw during the global financial crisis, Ireland's unemployment rate more than tripled in 5 years to mid-2012, peaking at a rate of over 15%. I suppose the first learning from our perspective in terms of trying to address that challenge was to crystallize around a unifying goal. And in our case, it was pretty easy to figure out what that unifying goal was. It was to create jobs. And specifically, we set a target to create 100,000 new jobs, which in the context of the Irish labour force is a significant number. There was a huge amount of engagement across government and with all stakeholders that had an interest in what needed to be done. And we distilled down, I suppose, our response to actions, responsible parties for those actions, and timelines. We also set measures for our success, and those measures were set at two levels in an Irish context. They were set around, are the actions being implemented? So are we achieving what we set out to do in terms of the actions that we had prioritized? And the responsibility for that sat at a cabinet committee level chaired by our Prime Minister, our Taoiseach. And the second measures that we set for that were around, are we making progress on the overall objective? Are we creating those jobs that we are targeting? And I suppose the answer to those questions in Ireland's case was that we were. There was an annual action plan between the years of 2012 and 2018. And in that time, actually, unemployment fell from 15.5% in 2012 to 5.8% in 2018 and went further down post that. And we created actually over 440,000 jobs during that period between 2012 and 2019. So the action plan was much more successful than we probably envisaged at the There are always challenges along the way. Not everything runs as you think it might. It wasn't possible to make as much progress in some areas as it was in others. New challenges presented themselves during those periods, and new resource constraints, economic developments that we hadn't probably seen at the outset. Obviously, every country's issues are different and they're unique, and Ireland never sets itself out as an exemplar. The Irish Action Plan for Jobs was developed at a particular time and in a particular context to target a specific issue, unemployment. We've also used action plans since across other areas of government. I think what was really important from our perspective was that there was significant support around the objective, and it was a unifying objective. And I think that's one of the key learnings here. Have a very clear overall objective, get buy-in, and make sure it's something that people are unifying around. I think the second lesson probably is around high-level sponsorship. In our case, that came at a governmental level from our Prime Minister, from our Taoiseach, and you need that sponsorship at senior levels that will help drive delivery. I think, thirdly, prioritize the actions which give you the greatest return, but keep working on everything that needs to be done. So there will always be loads of things that you need to make progress on, but you need to keep focused on those actions which will give you the highest impact. Fourthly, I think assigning responsibility for what needs to be done and agreeing a timeline is really important. These are kind of basic, probably business learnings. Monitoring and reviewing regularly to see where you're at, and sometimes you need to recalibrate, and the context changed and maybe you need to do different things. And finally, ensuring that it is somebody's job to support implementation and to monitor implementation on a regular basis. Somebody needs to wake up in the morning and this needs to be what's on their mind. So they're just some of the key learnings from Ireland in relation to how we managed a specific issue. To the Hispanic community, be ambitious, focus on the horizon, and work together. You can achieve this.
Thank you, Martin. It's so inspiring to see how an entire country can really go and achieve your goals and change and progress once you have a plan. We're going to spend a lot of the time this afternoon understanding what the global plan is. What are the goals under that? How do you measure that? And how can it be useful for our community? To help us understand a bit further, we're going to be projecting a film for you called Nations United that spells out what the global goals are and what the progress has been so far. Please do not forget to tune in back at 3 p.m. Have a great one.